Welcome, brothers and sisters of the multiverse. I'm just recently I started to stumble upon video upon video upon video of people crumbling down and realizing and ranting about the rat race, about the illusion of purpose, starting to ask the big questions about what does it all mean, why it has to be this way, and all of that. It's not that I'm enjoying them see suffer, it's quite the opposite. But I was there. I wasn't even 20 years old yet, maybe 14, 15. I had that just by watching my parents. With realizations, my parents and parents of my friends and stuff. To hear all the stories, to watch the lifelessness in their eyes by having the 9 to 5s. And even if they can barely provide for the family, only that pride kept them barely alive. Their souls barely alive. What brings me joy to see that so many nowadays people even start to question everything. It's such a joy because it's progress. The old, it's meaning the old dogmas are breaking down, so something new can arise. When I was young, when I was there, as a teenager, no one, no one would have understood that. No one has seen it as I did, and I wrestled with, am I the crazy one? But it's a real global progress. Many of them, sure, combine it with the ideas of the celestial placements of, the spheres. And sure, there is a little bit of that too. It does influence us, we can't deny it. Even if you can't prove it or disprove it. That's a big thing too. Why not try to disprove it first before denying it? Not proving it to confirm it. Just the thought. What do we know? What do we really actually know? We have only mostly just circumstantial evidence, right? Just patterns, pattern recognitions. And everyone tries to explain it in their own ways. Some say angels guide us, or it's just all mechanical and deterministic and reductionistic. Materialists don't see it at all, and they are the nihilists, and they're the I mean, but looking at our history from, let's say, only a few thousand years, how the progress and the awakening, let's say, overused and misused, I know the word is tainted, kind of, but there is an exponential curve of, for lack of a better word, awakening, kind of. Many mentioned this, like Terence McKenna talked about it, and there are a few others too. It's a pattern. It's a pattern. People need ever less time to realize something. And that whole new vibe of, for example, there was the religions who ruled over thousands of years, and then there was a short time of personal transcendence, realizations and meditations and all the new age stuff and all of that. It lasted only, let's say, 50 years or so. Then people started into this non-dualistic stuff, which lasted not even half as long. And now there are those who start with, I overgrown the non-dualistic and I'm back into wholeness and holistic and being human again, because that was also an ego trap and all of that. But Ian McGilchrist said it beautifully, and I quote, "We need both. We need dualism and non-dualism. And the dualism of dualism and non-dualism, and the non-dualism of dualism and non-dualism." Get that? It's all part of the same water. It's just progress. It's just levels of realizations. And they accelerate relatively rapidly, watching from the stance of human history. In our lifetimes, it seems long, it seems stagnant, it seems hopeless sometimes. But the overall progress, it's happening inevitably. And it's beautiful to see. Even if it's painful, of course it has to be. If you believe in something for long enough, and then that picture of the world suddenly crumbles, of course it's painful. You feel like you're delusional, or you wasted 10 years of your life or something, or you get the ego crumbles. And ego crumbling is painful but helpful. It's just part of the progress. And by acknowledging that, it doesn't hurt anymore. It's not about avoidance or painting what some might see as giving purpose to suffering and all of that stuff. Suffering has purpose, an intrinsic purpose. It tells you something. It tells you something's wrong, but that also tells you can extrapolate from that what is right. You can't appreciate the smell of a flower if you don't know the stench of a sewer. You know, it all has its part, the yin and yang, it's all a part of the whole. Even every failure had a purpose. If we didn't overdo some dogmas in the past, we wouldn't be as wise today. And realizing that honors those who were sacrificed by the masses for why they stood for what they believed in. Why Socrates took hemlock, or what was it, rather than betray himself. And that's so freaking powerful. It can be wrong, of course. Wrong in the sense that they're not at the end level of it and still sacrifice themselves. And they can't be, and we will never be. Nah. Maybe in a few eons, but what I want to say is, when you look at your life, every pain in your life, you can look at it more objectively, the longer it is behind you, and the better you work through it, the traumas and stuff, right? The more objective you can look at it, I bet most of you can say, I wouldn't be the person that I am today if that didn't happen. And there's always almost a gratitudinal tone to it, right? Because then you're stronger, you're wiser, you're humbler, maybe, you're just overall a more mature person. One can't avoid pain in life. One can try to avoid necessary ones, no, unnecessary ones, but who are we kidding? You can't even predict the next 15 minutes. So, the realization that we don't have control and the world is so complex and interconnected and interdependent, and free will also works in mysterious ways. It's not always graspable what free will is and what just autopilot is. And even when some people think that's what I want, it's rarely really that, or that's a conclusion with your current limited knowledge, intel. That's all that we will ever have, also. Limited intel, from which we derive and extrapolate and deduct purpose and meaning and wishes and dreams and all of that. We're not to blame if it goes wrong for a few years or decades or whatever, We can't. It doesn't make sense to punch ourselves for that. You live and you learn, you live and you fail, and hopefully you live and you fail and you learn from your failures. But overall, it's really, something is really happening in the last few years. As I mentioned in previous video, from 15 to 1,000 eco-villages and intentional communities in only 15 years. From 15 to over 1,000 in only 15 years. That blew my heart open. It's beautiful. And all these breakdowns, as much as it pains me to see them at that point of their realizations, but it also fills my heart because I know what follows richer, a bigger, a stronger, a more beautiful, more authentic, more sovereign, more aware presence. It's almost, it almost feels like we are near the tipping point of the 10%. And that's just in a nick of time before we all have chips in our brains. It's very inspiring to see. I just hope we can hold this trend and even extend it and be there for each other through that painful time. Not judgmental, but just understanding. Again, understanding, compassion, kindness, openness, in brotherly and sisterly love, in acceptance, in acknowledgement, in giving each other strength through that, with hopefully some good advice, toward a better new world. Who knows? Of course, on the one hand, one can never know what will still happen. The theories are exploding on every side. Of course, there are always those doomsday sayers. We have only a few months to the world's gonna end. There are always those. Well, it's just a change into a new paradigm, new way of thinking, new way of feeling, new way of interacting with each other, some new values, some new worldviews. And what, for example, Rutger Bregman said with data and stats, I say, in feelings, in awareness, it's getting progressively better. We know now we had to go through all that phases and all the pains, the second and third and fourth and fifth order effects of social media and all of that, to be overfed with BS to come to those realizations. It couldn't have happened otherwise, or it would have taken another few thousand years. So in a way, we should be grateful, because once it's over, it's over. The last witch is burned, and we don't do it anymore. We had to go through those modern versions of that by cancel culture and all of that charade to become more than we are. We have to see. It's like shadow work. It's like unconscious global shadow work unfolding life. We've seen the worst of ourselves. That's a good thing. It isn't pleasant at that moment, but it's a good thing that we at least see and acknowledge it. Then we can work on it and move on. You know? And I hope you also can see the bigger picture in that, and the hope that it implies for the future of our community. Now that we have all the know-how and technologies, and we can build some protopia, which is an ongoing process and not a destination, because we'll always learn through experimenting, through the change. We'll always make mistakes, but as long as we'll always learn from them and progress in a good direction, we'll be good. And no, of course, not everyone will be on board. No one ever is or was. There were always those who either lag behind, or are too much ahead, or have whole different visions of that. But with the internet, we get that idea. And I'm also seeing the crumbling of the dogmas of there is just one right answer for all. Just because of all the petty bigotries and fights on the internet about whatever two sides, and people are becoming more even the masses are catching on into the realm of non-duality, even if it's not the most advanced, but it's crucial. That pivotal point of non-duality, seeing and understanding each other and the world, will make the difference. And if the masses even grow beyond that, eventually, in only 5 years maybe. This will be a wild and beautiful ride. Because the non-duality automatically abolishes all force. There is no war when there is non-duality. Simple as that. And it's over once and for all. It will be for our grandchildren in their history books something that they will scratch their heads about. What? They, you mean they killed each other for something, for some ideas? What? Like we do today, commenting on the Middle Ages. It's always that way. Yeah, I think I'm positive overall. Of course, like they say, it has to get worse before it gets better. Just don't lose hope, don't lose agency in shaping that next world. We all matter. All our voices matter, no matter what anyone tells us or try to sell us. We all do have a voice and the agency to contribute in our own way. And that makes me hopeful. That's it for now. Wish you peace and long lasting life and peace, prosperity, and all that. Love you, brothers and sisters.